All right, you guys, let's go ahead and take a look in this case, guys, at our review for today, last review for the final here. We are going to be working in this case, guys, with rewriting equations in slope-intercept form. We are going to be working with tables in this case to actually write it in the format of y equals mx plus b. A few things in this case, guys. M is represented with slope in this case. M is represented with slope. And we know in this case that slope represents rise over run. Whenever we're talking about rise over run in this case, guys, we're actually talking about if we move up or down, or if we're going to be moving left or right. B in this case, guys, also represents our y-intercept in this case, guys, which is our starting point. So if we're graphing in this case, B is actually the point we're going to start off with. A few other things in this case, guys, because we are going to be graphing them and we're working with slope. Slope actually helps us determine the next point in our graph. So if we're trying to identify in this case, guys, or how to use slope, if I were to be having in this case a positive slope, then I could either move up and right or I could move down and left. And if I have a negative slope in this case, I could either move up and left or down and right. And those would actually be creating slopes, or the points in this case that create a line going in the same direction. Make sure you guys label this in this case, guys, so that way we know we can come back to this here when it comes to the final. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on, guys. Let's go ahead and start off with the first one, guys. And on the first one here, I want to go ahead and actually identify the slope and the y-intercept. So I want to go ahead and identify slope, which is M, and our y-intercept, which is B. Now, in terms of the slope in this case, guys, slope is actually always identified because it's the value or the number that carries the variable that carries x. So in this case, my slope here is actually going to be 3/4. In terms of the y-intercept in this case, guys, the y-intercept is a constant. It's a number that's by itself. It doesn't have a variable. So in this case, B is -4. B is -4. Slope is 3/4. All right. Once again, in this case, guys, if I were to be graphing this, I would actually be starting first with -4. So I'd be starting at a point. Let's say in this case, I were to be graphing this, right? Graphing it here. This is x, and that's y. And let's say I start off at -4, 2, 3, and 4. We're here. My slope in this case, guys, because it's positive, it's telling me to go 3 up, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 over. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would actually have a point here, and I'd be able to create a line, in this case, to represent the equation. All right. But on these here, guys, once again, we're just identifying slope and y-intercept. I am doing the extra step of showing you guys how to graph it. All right, from here, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, guys. Here's B. Same idea. I want to go ahead and identify slope and y-intercept. So slope, once again, in this case, guys, carries the variable, the x. So my slope on this here is going to be a -1/2. In terms of the y-intercept in this case, y-intercept, it's the constant. So therefore, my y-intercept is going to be -3. -3. All right. So let's go ahead and move on then to the next ones. Once again, that was basically identifying slope and y-intercept. Next one's in this case, guys, is actually creating an equation in slope-intercept form using the table. So let's go ahead and start off in this case, guys. First things first. If I want to go ahead and actually create the equation, I need to identify, once again, two things. I need to identify slope, and I need to identify our y-intercept. Now, when it comes to slope in this case, guys, once again, you want to go ahead and find the change in y over the change in x, which means how much is it changing on the x's, how much is it changing on the y's. So if I take a look at the x's in this case, guys, we're actually adding a 1 each time and adding a 1. In terms of the y's, right, if I check in this case, what am I doing to go from one number to the next? If I can't see it from the top of my head in this case, guys, I'm actually going to be subtracting the second number from the first. So it's -4 minus a -9. It would actually be giving me a 5. So I'm actually adding 5 each time as I'm going from one number to the next. So slope in this case, guys, would actually be 5/1, because that's the